Good afternoon. I'm Alex Fisher. You've been watching an NBC News special report on the Senate impeachment trial of President Trump. Today, the trial enters a new phase. Senators get to question the White House lawyers and House managers over 2 days. But the biggest question on Capitol Hill is still unanswered: whether witnesses, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton, will be allowed to testify. NBC's Jennifer Johnson has more from Washington.
Please join me in reciting the pledge.
Today, the next step in President Trump's impeachment trial. Senators questioning White House lawyers and House managers.
Is there any way for the Senate to render a fully informed verdict in this case without hearing the testimony of Bolton, Mulvaney, and the other key eyewitnesses, or without seeing the relevant documentary evidence?
The short answer to that question is no.
Democrats want to hear from former National Security Advisor John Bolton, even though President Trump has already threatened to invoke executive privilege. The New York Times reports sources say Bolton claims in an unpublished book manuscript that President Trump told him he was withholding military aid to Ukraine in exchange for investigating the Bidens. The National Security Council today warned Bolton not to publish the book, claiming it contains classified information. In a tweet, President Trump asks, why didn't John Bolton complain about this nonsense a long time ago? The president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, is calling Bolton a backstabber. Meanwhile, an indicted Giuliani associate made a surprise appearance at the Capitol, saying he, Bolton, and even the president should testify.
How else are you going to get the truth?
What is the truth?
The truth is the president knew everything that was going on.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has tried to avoid witnesses, but some in his party want to call Hunter Biden. One red state Democrat going against his party, saying Hunter Biden might be a relevant witness.
I think so. I really do.
Hunter Biden is irrelevant and a distraction.
Today, questions and answers, but the big question on calling witnesses still far from settled. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington.
Meantime, President Trump today signed the historic United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. The president signed the deal on the south lawn of the White House, joined by some 400 guests, including farmers, CEOs, workers, and members of Congress. The trade deal essentially places NAFTA, that's the North American Free Trade Agreement, and opens Canadian dairy markets to American producers. It creates stricter rules for auto part rules of origin and requires at least 40% of the parts for a car to be produced in plants where workers make at least $16 an hour. It also aims to update digital trade and copyright rules, among other changes. Well, a lot of people woke up to shaking and a loud boom early this morning. A magnitude 3.2 earthquake struck just north of Bakersfield. It was downgraded from a 3.3. It happened just before 5 a.m. Here's a look at where that epicenter was. It was near Seven Sisters Road. The USGS says the magnitude was strong enough to be felt by a lot of people and to rattle dishes and windows. We had some people that called into our newsroom and said that they felt the shaking, or at least heard that there was an earthquake. All right, let's take a look at your forecast now with Vanessa Dillon, who is in the Weather Center, talking about your forecast. And cloudy skies again this morning into this afternoon, and temperature is still cool out there.
That's right, Alex. It's still pretty cloudy. However, we are expecting to see pretty much the sun make its way out in just a little bit. But let's take a look at your weather forecast right now. Let's switch gears and look at our radar and satellite, which is currently being updated right now. Let's take a look at it, and it is coming out. Yes, there we go. All right. So as I mentioned, we did see some cloud coverage make its way into our region this morning. It's still kind of lingering, and we're anticipating to see it kind of stick around for the next several hours. However, we're going to see it clear up similar to what we saw yesterday. So if you are looking forward to the sun, it is making its way out later this afternoon. Right now, though, we are seeing chilly conditions in the city. 53 degrees with humidity levels of 74%, dew point at 45. And it's only going to get cooler from here later through this evening. We're looking at those high 40s across the board tonight. In Tehachapi, 48 degrees, 57% humidity levels with northwest winds at 7 miles per hour, dew point at 34. Chilly conditions tonight, but we are expecting calmer winds compared to what we saw earlier today. I'll have a look at your full weather forecast coming up in just a little bit. I'll send it over to you, Alex.
All right, Vanessa, thanks so much. Take a look at this. Firefighters and rescue helicopters hoisted more than a dozen people to safety from a Los Angeles high-rise today. 8 people were injured in the 6th-floor fire, including a 3-month-old child. One person suffered critical injuries. That's all according to the Los Angeles Fire Department. Most of the injuries involved smoke inhalation. There were no reports of fatalities. Fire officials say they are impressed by the teamwork it took to knock down the blaze before it did more damage.
The Herculean effort of the members of the Los Angeles Fire Department was incredible. As mentioned, with heavy fire showing on the 6th floor, an above-ground incident, it takes a lot of coordination, and our resources did a great job.
Firefighters say the building did not have sprinklers, which were required, or were not required, I should say, in the early 1960s. That was when the building was built.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition, liftoff.
SpaceX had a successful launch from Cape Canaveral today after scrapping Monday and yesterday's planned launches due to weather. Liftoff was just after 6 a.m. The company sent a Falcon 9 rocket carrying 60 small internet-beaming satellites into orbit, joining dozens of others. More launches are lined up for this year. It is all part of the company's unprecedented push to build its broadband internet business, Starlink. The goal is to offer affordable internet service to parts of the U.S. and Canada by the summer, and eventually to beam cheap high-speed broadband across the globe, including rural areas that do not currently have access to internet. In your 17 Core Watch, jury deliberations continue today in the trial of Leslie Chance, that is the former elementary school principal accused of killing her husband. Yesterday, the jury sent a note to the judge asking for a readback of the testimony of Chance and 2 of her daughters. Jurors started deliberating earlier this month, but they were forced to start over Monday after a juror was excused due to a financial hardship. An alternate juror was brought in. Chance is accused of killing her husband, Todd, in August 2013 and dumping his body in an almond orchard. 2 people are recovering this afternoon after they were hit by a suspected drunk driver in northeast Bakersfield. It happened around 6:40 yesterday evening on River Boulevard and Knott Street. CHP says the driver of the SUV was turning onto Knotts when he hit 2 people in a crosswalk, allegedly. The people suffered minor injuries. The driver was arrested on a suspected DUI. A new state bill is in the Capitol, aims to have people under 21 tried as juveniles in court. The bill was authored by Senator Nancy Skinner of Berkeley. Skinner says people under 21 being tried for crimes in court still needs guidance, adding that treating 18 or 19-year-olds as adults makes no sense. She cited other laws that set restrictions on purchasing tobacco, cannabis, or alcohol that require a person be 21 years old as the adult or responsible age. Like other reform efforts, it is likely that if the bill were to pass, it would face exceptions for serious crimes. The bill does have support from some state probation officers. Well, the death toll continues to rise in China as the coronavirus continues to spread. And there's new concern over the severity of the virus. We'll explain coming up in your 17 Health Watch. Well, just months before the start of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, organizers are preparing foreigners for potential disasters during the Games. The organizers held disaster preparedness drills this week as part of their final readiness exercises. The area they are most concerned about is the possibility of natural disasters during the game. The drills were aimed at making foreigners more disaster savvy. They felt how it feels, how to be shaken in an earthquake simulator, you just saw that, and also put out fires. Participants also used how to use fire extinguishers and walk through smoke-filled rooms. They were even taught what exercises to do if stuck in an evacuation shelter.
For Japanese government, when they hold an event like this, it's really help foreigners like me, because for kids in Japan they have already taught in school, but we have no idea.
Japan is one of the most vulnerable countries in the world to typhoons and earthquakes. You may also remember the devastating tsunami in 2011 after that 9.1 magnitude earthquake that killed nearly 16,000 people. The Tokyo 2020 Olympics begin in less than 6 months on July 24th. And just a reminder, you can watch it only on TV 17. In your 17 Health Watch, a flight carrying about 200 American evacuees landed at a U.S. military base in Southern California earlier today after leaving the epicenter of the deadly coronavirus outbreak in China. The arrival at March Air Reserve Base near Riverside comes after the plane stopped in Anchorage, Alaska to refuel and for health screenings. The flight from Wuhan, China was chartered by the U.S. State Department. The passengers included U.S. diplomats and their families. The fast-spreading coronavirus has infected thousands and claimed more than 130 lives. There are at least 5 confirmed cases here in the U.S., including Los Angeles County and Orange County. Meantime, more cases being detected, and health officials are working desperately to contain the rapidly spreading deadly virus. NBC's Janice Mackey-Fryer has more from Beijing.
This morning, Americans getting out of Wuhan, touching down in Alaska. More than 200 people facing quarantine for 2 weeks.
In Anchorage, the passengers were screened twice more and were approved to continue on to California by the CDC.
Fear of the mysterious coronavirus is spreading. British Airways, the first international carrier to suspend all flights to the mainland. The U.S. also considering an all-out ban on travel to and from China.
This is a potentially very serious public health threat. This is a very fast-moving, constantly changing situation.
Scientists are making some progress in duplicating the virus to come up with a treatment. With 5 confirmed cases in the U.S. and more than 100 people in 26 states still being watched for symptoms, hospitals are preparing. Here in China, the growing number of infections fueling a rush to build hospitals, at least 2 to be ready within days. But hundreds of Americans are still stuck in Wuhan with no way out. Priscilla Dickey and her daughter turned away from that State Department flight because of a passport problem.
I've been outside maybe once or twice, not a lot. I just kind of want to stay in and not worry about whether or not I'm going to get sick.
Sam Roth in Wisconsin, unsure how to get his wife and young daughters back home.
Sometimes I'll look at the headlines and I'll get really scared and think, what have I done? My children are there.
Restrictions to contain the virus have paralyzed much of China. Yet in Wuhan the other night, a moment of determination. Voices in the dark chanting "Jiayou," what people say for encouragement here, a way of urging someone to be strong and keep going.
Scientists are racing to develop a vaccine against the virus, but it's time-consuming and expensive. The best-case scenario, 3 months from now. The concern, of course, is that the virus is spreading rapidly and in some cases showing up in people who've never visited China. Janice Mackey-Fryer, NBC News, Beijing.
All right, let's turn things over to Vanessa Dillon, who is in this afternoon, taking a look at your forecast. And Vanessa, we talked about these cooler temperatures over the last several days. It does warm up in the afternoon typically, but it's still really cold outside once those clouds are overhead.
Right. It's still pretty chilly, so if people are making their way outdoors right now, it is going to still be relatively cool. We're taking a look at Bakersfield right now, our conditions specifically being 53 degrees. And you know what? Like Alex said, once that sun comes out, it starts to warm up a little bit, so you can look forward to that in just a few minutes. 45 dew point, 74% humidity levels, calm winds at 5 miles per hour. Taking a look at our radar and satellite, we are going to expect to see cloud coverage make its way into our region for the next several days. So although we're seeing that sun come out, we're not really seeing any kind of showers making their way into our region anytime soon. We are expecting to see chillier conditions, cloud coverage in those specifically morning hours. Taking a look at our current conditions right now, we're seeing 55 in Arvin, 48 in Tehachapi, 54 in Lake Isabella, 64 in Ridgecrest. Something to note for us here in the mountains and desert, we're going to start to see gusty winds, pretty much gusting around 50 miles per hour. Cloudy in the mountains too. That's going to pretty much linger into at least tonight. Regionally, we're expecting 74 in Los Angeles, so slightly warmer than what we're seeing. 65 in San Diego, 60 in Las Vegas. Our current air quality right now good at 50 AQI, and so we're expecting to see that for pretty much the remainder of today. In our valley forecast, like we mentioned earlier on sunrise today, we saw some fog kind of lingering into our region, and then it cleared up. Now we're just seeing some cloud coverage sticking around relatively for the remainder of today. We're seeing pretty much those 50s across the board. In the mountains, the northwest winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour, so pretty much breezy there. We're going to start to see that sun make its way out as well, looking at those 50s across the board, even 47 in Bear Valley, 48 in Stallion Springs, 50 in Tehachapi. In our desert forecast, looking at sunny conditions, northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour with increasing winds at 15 to 20 miles per hour and gusts making their way up to 30. So just keep note of that because we are going to start to see things pretty much be gusty in the mountains and desert as well, and pretty much cool, but also looking at that sun come out pretty much soon. In our valley forecast, some cloud coverage lingering through until this weekend, then warm conditions by Saturday, looking at a high of 72 degrees. Slight chances of showers come next Monday with a high of 57 degrees. It's looking like a 20% chance, and it's going to look like drizzly showers specifically next week. In our mountain forecast, we're seeing similar conditions, cloud coverage, even breezy today, a high of 50. This weekend, though, I know a lot of us have big plans for Super Bowl weekend. Sunday, it's going to be windy. So if you have any plans outdoors, maybe doing a barbecue, just keep mind of that. It is going to be relatively windy with a high of 63 degrees. In our Kern Valley forecast, similar conditions. It's going to be windy today, but sunny. So just be patient for that because the sun is going to make its way out. I know it's kind of cloudy right now and chilly, but it's going to be sunny for the remainder of the week. And more specifically, like I mentioned, if you are doing anything for Super Bowl Sunday, it's going to be breezy, those lingering clouds in the morning, and then the sun comes out. So something to look forward to.
I said this morning, I think you could enjoy the Super Bowl outside.
Yeah, because it's not hot
on Sunday. It's not hot, but it's not going to be too cold. It should be sunny. It could be pretty nice. You could do a little barbecue outside.
Exactly.
Vanessa, thanks. All right, well, why work harder when you can work out smarter? How a gym is making its members work out better using technology.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back. Travel in the month of February is supposed to be 8% higher this year compared to last. That's according to a new survey by TripAdvisor. With the Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, and President's Day taking place in February, it is predicted to be a busy travel month for Americans. Valentine's Day falls on the Friday of the long President's Day weekend. 1/3 of those planning to travel plan to do so that weekend. 27% are taking a romantic trip. That's up 15% from last year. United Airlines is canceling some flights due to the coronavirus. The temporary move affects 24 round trips. They're between the U.S. and 3 cities in China during the first week of February. The airline cites the low demand for the routes to Beijing, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. American Airlines, Delta, and United have been waiving fees for travel changes stemming from the virus. These flight cancellations represent an escalated response. Meantime, British Airways is also taking measures against the coronavirus by canceling all of its flights to China. British Airways normally has daily flights to Shanghai and Beijing from Heathrow and London. Efforts to contain the virus continue in China. A business owner from New Jersey is offering some technology to help his customers get a better workout in less time. Gus Rosendale has more.
Slowly just fight the resistance.
Chances are you know all about the push.
It's all about just controlling.
And the pull of working out.
So while you're doing this, you kind of want to maintain your back against the pad.
But how about the tap-tap on a computer screen?
Just relax.
The thing we need to do is actually perform a strength test, and that's going to tell the computer, is going to find out how strong you are, and then we're going to actually tailor-make a workout that customized just for you. Put your hands over here.
Richard Edelstein owns the Exercise Coach in Midland Park, New Jersey. The franchise customizes workouts for clients through computers linked to the exercise equipment.
We get it done here because of our technology and just the way we make it work really hard.
Work out 20 minutes twice a week.
Uma Tanega is a busy mom and doctor who says she's not a typical gym fan.
I'm not a motivated workout individual, so I have my private exercise coach motivating me and helping me reach my highest potential.
And it truly is a smart workout because the more you work out, the computer gets to know you, devises a program for you, and could save you a lot of time when it comes to working out.
Now, easy. Here we go.
Oh, now it's moving. Oh, great.
So
As he showed me how it works, Edelstein said a couple of 20-minute sessions a week could equal hours spent at the gym because the computer accurately monitors your performance and keeps you honest.
As the machine's coming back and forth, you're under constant resistance, constant tension, and you got about 90 seconds of this.
Okay. Whew, indeed. New technology giving you a lift when you lift.
That yellow line.
Well, new information in the investigation into what caused the deadly helicopter crash in Calabasas. The piece of equipment that could have saved the 9 lives on board, including Kobe Bryant. Welcome back. Major news today from the NTSB investigation into what caused Kobe Bryant's helicopter to crash. That helicopter involved did not have a critical piece of safety equipment that may have helped the pilot avoid the ridge line that he slammed into. Here's NBC's Tom Costello.
This morning, the NTSB says Kobe Bryant's luxury helicopter was not equipped with critical safety technology, a terrain avoidance warning system, or TAWS. TAWS is common on commercial aircraft, and for years, the NTSB has recommended it for large passenger helicopters. But the FAA has not ordered the change.
Certainly, TAWS could have helped to provide information to the pilot on what terrain the pilot was flying in.
The chopper also did not have black boxes, a cockpit voice or flight data recorder that could have provided critical information about why the pilot crashed. The pilot, 50-year-old Ara Zabayan, a veteran aviator and instructor who was certified for both visual and instrument flight rules. Jacob Chambers was one of his students.
Ara was the most capable pilot. There was nothing that he couldn't do. He was extremely safe all the time, safety first.
As thick clouds and fog moved in Sunday morning, trouble came fast. Flight data indicates the chopper dropped 350 feet in just 6 seconds, making a quick left turn and accelerating, slamming into the hillside at 176 miles per hour. The question now, did Zabayan become disoriented in the clouds, or was there a mechanical problem? Jennifer Homendy is leading the NTSB investigation.
Do you have any credible information that this helicopter was in distress before hitting the hill?
We don't have credible information on that yet.
Nothing's ruled out at this point.
Nothing is ruled out.
The FAA has required TAWS to be on medevac choppers, but not on large passenger helicopters, and it often comes down to a cost-benefit analysis. Does it make sense, and will the industry support it? It can cost up to $40,000 to equip a chopper with TAWS. Tom Costello, NBC News, Los Angeles.
We're back after this. Welcome back. Disneyland is now selling sporks for $11 a piece. You can see it listed under cargo on its online menu. Disney serves them at the Docking Bay 7 restaurant in the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge theme area. Apparently they've been so popular since their introduction that some guests were actually taking them and then posting it on social media about their new souvenir. Well, now you can buy them without the 5-finger discount. They even come with a Galaxy Edge themed travel bag. All right. Thanks so much for joining us for 17 News at noon. We'll see you back here tonight at 5.
17 News, your local news leader, continues 24 hours a day on KGET.com and our 17 News app. In the spirit of the Golden Empire, 17 News.